One of the greatest sets in Tetrio tournament history has just been played by two of the greatest players in the world. DIAO, one of the most dominant players in Tetrio ever since the Season 2 rule set has been released, has won practically every competitive tournament and consistently beats every other player by convincing margin. Everybody thought that nobody could stand a chance against this guy. His speed, his consistency, and his knowledge of Tetris itself allows himself to be so much better than his competition. However, in this tournament, he faces Gohan, who is one of the most promising up-and-coming players and is actually able to keep up with his speed. In the past, they have faced each other several times, but still it seems like everybody knows that at the end of the set, DIAO will be the winner. However, that sentiment has changed today. Gohan just beat DIAO in the winners finals of Apple Orchard Cup The Harvest, which was a legendary upset in itself. But to win the entire tournament, he needs to defeat DIAO again in the grand finals to take home one of the most competitive major wins in all of 2026. And he did, 8-11. As an around top 50 player myself, I'm hoping that I can give some insight into Gohan's gameplay and performance in this set and try to explain some of the thought process behind top Tetris gameplay and why he was able to get the victory over DIAO. That being said, before we jump into the first game, let's talk about Gohan's opening repertoire. He almost always uses a TD or triple double opener to get a guaranteed T-spin triple and T-spin double, which sends 10 lines to the enemy at the start of the game. I noticed that with this opener, Gohan is really good at transitioning into the mid game using mechanical heart patterns, which are extremely good for building surge and farming all spin patterns. He also sometimes uses TKI and stick spin to mix it up. With that in mind, let's jump into game 1.
Heart pattern to kick things off for Gohan's side of the board. DIAO a little bit faster off the starts. Let's Surge go early, but does force the defensive surge break from Gohan. They're not able to get as much out of that as possible.
Yeah, now Gohan bursting. Trying to catch DIAO off guard, almost doing so.
Multiplier for Gohan, or excuse me, for DIAO.
So in this situation, Gohan's in a critical spot here because he's in a 8-1 situation where the garbage well is in the 9th column and he needs to get down. And this is kind of one of the worst positions for the well to be in, just because your options are very limited in placing pieces to fill up the right side. It's basically only the eyepiece that you can put. So when I'm analyzing his gameplay, I'm trying to find a way to escape this 8-1 situation as fast as possible. What he does here is honestly pretty natural. He does a donation where he fills the pieces on the right to make room for the T-spin in the center. However, this doesn't solve the 8-1 issue in the end. I think the most important thing to note here is that we have a 5 high tall well. If the well was 4 tall high, then you could just take the Tetris and your board state would be flat and clean. However, since it is 5 tall, then you have 2 spots on your board where the board is going to be spiky. And to resolve a spiky board, you're going to have to use your TPs very carefully. And here, I think the cleanest way to resolve it is by placing the T vertically and then doing an S-spin after. And then after, you can prepare yourself to start doing a 4-5 stack where the well is in the 5th column.
Some people talk about like power creep as well, just like people just in general across the Tetra community have gotten so much better over time. Unfortunately, when you're at, you know, like the top of the line in a Tetra event, this is what we're dealing with now. Gohan, a little bit of a compromise in the build. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be curtain.
In this round, Gohan played as usual, but he did make one crucial mistake. And that was placing this L piece over the well. Why this is bad is because he needs to fill all the blocks that are either under or level with the highest point of the L piece. This requires a huge number of pieces which Gohan was unfortunately not able to place in time, which is ultimately why he died. Here are some possible alternatives to what Gohan could have done to maintain back-to-back and a clean board state for efficiency.
Still able to find a nice combo there. Gohan broke surge with that last attack, so now is at surge deficit, breaks a short surge once again. DIAO able to maintain it just a little bit longer to get that 25. Gohan though, doing an incredible job of just taking that pressure from DIAO and sending it back.
And yes, overhang, let's hope. C-spin there, occupied for Gohan. Nearly runs out of time to get access to it. Oh, the T catches over on the side. Is there a down stack?
In this round, I kind of want to talk about the general game plan that these players like DIAO and Gohan from what I've noticed in their gameplay when reviewing. Here, DIAO is currently at a 17 surge advantage and has just sent a quad, meaning that he has sent a spike of 21 lines to Gohan. Many Tetris players look at gameplay like this and wonder, wow, how are these top players living 20 spikes, 30 spikes, 40 spikes even? In Season 2, it's very important that you do not get into a surge disadvantage. And if you do find yourself in a surge disadvantage, then your goal should be to provoke the opponent so that they don't keep farming surge on you and send an even bigger spike. And when you finally do provoke your opponent to send your surge, then you need to be prepared to receive it. Here, Gohan realizes he's in a disadvantage, and so he needs to prepare himself to receive a huge spike. Now here it is very important that Gohan does not send this T-spin double right away. He needs to save this T-spin for when DIAO actually sends so that he can use it to cancel the incoming garbage. Even though 20 lines may seem like a lot, when you effectively cancel the garbage by waiting for your opponent to send, then you can live seemingly impossible scenarios. I bet even in this scenario, DIAO could have sent 30 lines, even like 35 lines, he would have probably lived. However, Gohan did still lose this round, and that's because of downstack mistakes that were similar to how he died in some of the previous rounds. For example, this L placement is bad because it blocks the garbage hole, and this Z placement is bad because it also blocks the garbage hole.
Gohan the first now out of the gate, burning at almost 5 pieces per second. A lot of mileage out of the stack as well. DIAO going to send a pretty aggressive surge.
Oh, but
going to rocket multiplier, but so much.
Now, I've talked a lot about how surge is important, but how do you actually build up the surge in the first place? In this clip, Gohan does a really good job at farming surge using setups that he has completed probably tens of thousands of times over his Tetris career. These setups are very efficient and allow Gohan to be able to send over 300 lines per minute, which he does in this round. One of the main setups Gohan is known for being so good at is these mechanical heart patterns that allow him to farm T-spins and all-spins to build up his surge. The reason why mechanical heart is so good is because it is very versatile and that you can fill the cells in multiple ways while still getting a spin out of it, which is what surge is based off of. Gohan also knows his all spins pretty well, and that's how he's able to maintain his surge while downstacking, which allows him to keep his back-to-back and pose a threat with the surge. Some essential all spins that are used is this J180, can also be used with the L, and S spins and Z spins that are used in the mechanical heart patterns. As you watch the remaining games, try to look for any other setups that Gohan uses so that you can build your own all-spin repertoire in your own gameplay. For example, here, he sees that he has a 2x4 box, and there are many ways to fill in this using all-spins. I'll put some examples on the screen here. Now, with so many options, which one does Gohan choose? Well, Gohan is a really good player, and so he sees the option which gives him a perfect clear. Another cool setup that Gohan uses is this Z placement or S placement. At first it kind of looks like a misdrop, but you can tuck in a J or L piece like this and then spin it in. And it's very cool and it's very clean. And he actually makes the same setup only a few seconds later.
Nice take there from Gohan, getting that clean garbage. Builds into a 49 spike. Does DIAO have? Okay, yeah.
There was a lot of careful waiting for DIAO on that one, but unfortunately.
In this round, Gohan uses two key concepts known as tanking and power stacking so that he can send the biggest spikes he can. First, let's talk about tanking. Tanking is the idea of accepting clean garbage from your opponent so that you have more resources on your board so that you can send a spike. So, when you're in an advantageous board state, sometimes it's better to deliberately wait so that you can increase your chances of sending a counter spike, which is exactly what Gohan does. Here, Gohan deliberately waits for DIAO to send him lines before placing the SPs. This ensures that he receives clean garbage, which increases the chance that he has the resources available to send the spike in the first place. Now Gohan's pretty lucky here since the well spawned in a favorable position for him, but tanking allows him to even get that lucky chance in the first place. After sending the spike, Gohan later continues his attack and uses a concept known as power stacking so that he can increase the pressure. Here Gohan is in a relatively safe board state, and because he is safe, he decides to power stack. What power stacking does for your board is that it creates a funnel-like shape, and this shape is actually quite safe because it creates many opportunities for you to combo and hopefully get a big combo multiplier spike. Now there are three main situations for when you would want to power stack. One, you're already in an advantageous position and are looking to make a big spike. Two, you are in a disadvantageous position and are preparing to receive a big spike. And three, when your opponent is deliberately stalling, waiting for you to do something. Let's look at another round where Gohan uses power stacking to save his life. In this round, Gohan is expecting a big spike to come soon, so what he does here is actually quite smart. He sets up a power stack on the left side so that he can make a mini 4 wide on the right side so that he can cancel the incoming spike. As you can see, his garbage is literally full and he still survives. And then he misdrops and dies.
To make it out alive. Oh, multiplier there for
Nice
Gohan.
multiplier. Yeah, that 31 spike sending so much to DIAO, but DIAO, of course, still able to stay alive and catching Gohan off guard. That Z drop, not doing him any favors. The S drop as well. Definitely a struggle here. Yes, the eyepiece needs the second eyepiece doesn't come in the queue.
Despite the misdrop, Gohan still could have lived here.
Yeah, incredible endurance there.
In this round, take a look at how Gohan maintains his offensive power.
What it does mean though is once again Gohan only 2 points away.
Oh, that's a huge spike. And the misdrop there from DIAO. Has to sacrifice the eyepiece on the down stack, and that's a...
There's basically only one window in this round where Ikli maybe could have killed Gohan, but to do this he would have had to place his S-piece in such a bad spot that Gohan just maintained control over the whole round. I think that even if DIAO didn't misdrop here, it would still be pretty difficult for him to regain control of the match. But wait, while we're too busy analyzing, Gohan is one match away from winning one of the most competitive tournaments of 2026. Will he be able to close it out?
Oh, early spike there from Gohan, and that's gonna be the game. One attack per piece, over 250 attack per minute.
So now, Gohan has officially been crowned the champion of Apple Orchard Cup, The Harvest, which makes me excited to see what the future of Tetrio professional level gameplay looks like in the future. DIAO has been dominating the top of the scene for a long time now, and I want to see how this shapes the meta now that we have seen how strong Gohan is, especially his offensive gameplay. I hope that this video helps give you a better understanding of how top-level modern Tetris gameplay works so that you can see some of the topics that I discussed being applied in actual games. If you also watched the whole tournament, I would love to see some of your own analyses in the comments section below. That being said, give a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.